So welcome back to another month of my favorite reads, this one for August. I am kind of thinking about changing up how I do these. So I was kind of thinking about maybe instead of doing like a larger roundup at the end, of doing individual reviews. So doing like a video for each book, and then maybe doing like just a roundup, like, which would be quicker, an actual roundup maybe, where I just compile them and I'd be like, hey, look at all these videos. These are the ones for the month. So I don't know if that's something you're interested in. If you prefer me to have to keep it the way it is, to just do like I do roughly 5 from the previous month, or if you think you would like ones that are more tailored towards the specific book, let me know in the comments below, and yeah, we'll see what we do going forward. That being said, August was a great month. We've got the first kicking it off, His Gentle Omega by Raiven Matthews. So I will say that this one's kind of important for a few reasons. And the main reason is that this deals with abuse or survivors of domestic violence, and that's not terribly unheard of to see, but the person that is affected by this is the alpha Shay. So I think that's where it kind of flips the script a little bit. So we get to see kind of like what the systems are in place, you know, like for the quote unquote like omegas that normally would be running from their partners, but in this time, because it's an alpha that's running away, those systems kind of fail in a way that people just aren't used to seeing, because these systems that are in place kind of have like, it's hard to like pinpoint, but like they, you know, it's like, here's, without coming out and saying it, it's like here's what our victims look like, and this does not fit our victim norm, I guess is what it is. You know, kind of like a thing, which is, it's hard to say, but it's true in a lot of factors that kind of like pop up in our own society. How, like, you know, a lot of shelters and everything like that are for women, and then men who are abused, it's like it's harder to find support and systems in place that help them out. So I like that this book focuses on that a little bit. I mean, it's kind of a main factor that runs through, but Raiven Matthews, I think, did a really good job of portraying this pretty heavy topic, actually. And it starts off, it's a really difficult beginning, I will say. It's definitely on page, and it's not glossed over the trauma that Shay has gone through. So Shay finally leaves with his son and gets out of there and is trying to get to his brother, who he hasn't talked to in like years. I want to say it's like 12 years or something, basically since he met this past Omega, you know, this. So yeah, you know, kind of like what happens. He got isolated, and so now he is in a space where he needs to get out, and he takes his son and he leaves. And so he ends up in Sweet Alps, which has amazing series that comes before this one, and you don't have to read the ones before, but I do love this whole series. Has been kind of something that took me by surprise. I don't know what I was expecting when I first, you know, read about Sweet Alps, but Raiven's done a really good job of bringing like topics that are, you know, maybe difficult. I don't know, necessarily not seen, but not highlighted often, and kind of weaving them out throughout the books. And so I definitely highly recommend starting at the beginning and going through them all, because you get to see all the people from before, kind of how they show up here. But this one does stand on its own as well. So when Shay turns up in Sweet Alps, he goes to the hospital that his brother works at, and then kind of passes out because he's been on the road for a long time. And while he's there, Bennett, who happens to work there, not as a doctor or a nurse, but more as like in an admin role, he kind of helps connect, I guess, patients to services that they need. And as soon as he sees Shay, he kind of knows that Shay is supposed to be his mate. Now, that being said, Shay's brother Asher is out visiting his in-laws, so he's not around. And so due to reasons, Bennett has offered a spare bedroom for Shay and his son Lucas. And who's adorable, I will say. So that's how these two meet. But due to the trauma that Shay has gone through, he is not in a place to accept being a mate at all. So it's very nice that we get to see these people. It's a little bit like playing house until Asher comes back. Like they go like Bennett's supposed to be on vacation for a month because he's a workaholic and he's finally been forced to take his vacation. So he's got time off. He can help Shay recover from the injuries that he sustained, and the he has some kind of like infection, like bronchitis or something like that as well. Helps get Lucas kind of settled in. And all Bennett's wanted his entire life is to have like a mate and a family. So it's a little, maybe a little bit more than a little, but heartbreaking when Shay comes to this decision that he needs to move out when he's finally able to. In fact, he still doesn't go far. He goes next door. There's like a revolving open house next door that you see time and again through the book series, and he has to get his himself together. So he starts to go like to therapy and all this other stuff, and starts to learn like how to be on his own with Lucas, which is important, 100% important for Shay. Shay definitely does need to kind of find, I guess, his own power back, right? It's taken from him for a long time. So I feel bad. I felt really bad for Bennett, because Bennett's like this great guy, right? he's always caring, and all he's wanted was a family, and now it's like the timing it's like the right person, wrong time kind of a thing. So Bennett does let him go, obviously, and tries to be friends. But it's like it's tough, right? There's tough because there's this pull between them, and it's just a sweet story of how everything kind of comes together. And then I also think that Lucas was a really good addition. So Lucas is Shay's son, who we brought with him. I think he's like 6 in the story, and he's just. Normally I feel like a lot of times when they have older children, sometimes they kind of get like they get tossed in for a little bit, and then it's kind of forgotten about, right? But not in this one. Lucas kind of has a pretty prominent role, as he should, being a focus for Shay. I mean, come on, it's his kid, and there's a lot of other factors that are kind of like threading through with this. But I thought he was really well done for a 6-year-old, and I think it made the story richer for it. So this is a really good story. It's kind of, I could say, kind of maybe a difficult read at times, depending on any triggers that you may have, but one that, like, if you can, I highly recommend it. I think it's important to read stories that kind of highlight situations that we might not necessarily think about or like understand, like why someone like Shay would stay in a relationship that was so toxic for so long. and you know how not easy it is to get out of those situations. So I do recommend it. I love Sweet Alps. I think this is technically the last in this series, but hopefully we get some kind of spin-offs. Okay. I will say Bennett's best friend is so fun, and I heard through some grapevines that he might be getting a spin-off. So I'm crossing my fingers for that. Raiven Matthews is an amazing author, and I can't wait to read more from her. All right, switching topics. Going from something that was maybe tough to something that's a little bit more fun. We've got Written at Randy's by Katherine McIntyre. So I'm not gonna say that there's no heavy topics in here, but it's definitely a much lighter read. We've got Miles, who's an author, and he sometimes writes at what's called Randy's, which is a diner. And he's very, like, of course, he's also isolated author, right? But he goes, when he's at the diner, he's got other author friends. There's like an author corner in this diner, which is kind of fun. And then while he's there, he's kind of noticed this person who comes in with what they call, like, I don't know, the club crowd. This group of people comes in after like being out of the club for a bit just to get like a nice tasty diner snack treat. And he's kind of been intrigued by one of these people and just doesn't have the courage to say hi. So he leaves and he puts up a roommate wanted sign. He needs a roommate for financial reasons, which are kind of brushed aside a little bit, I would say, but it's not important. The important thing is he needs a roommate, and luckily the person who answers the roommate call is I believe it's Avery. Avery is they were supposed to be moving into a new apartment with their best friend. However, their best friend has to move all across country for job opportunities. So now Avery is left with no opportunities, and he has to get out of his current situation. So he sees the flyer and answers the door, and lo and behold, he doesn't know that Miles has had this crush on him for forever. And as soon as Miles sees him, he's kind of like, oh, this person's here. It's cute. I like it. So Avery is not a they them. Avery is I think it's more of a gender fluid. So either they go by he, him, or she, her. And I like the way it was written. It felt very natural to kind of flow between the two, and I like the way it was done. So going forward, I'm just gonna keep it simple and use he, him, but Avery in general fluctuates throughout the story, and I don't know, it just felt natural to read it, so I liked it. Avery doesn't feel seen by his family. He's an acupuncturist, and the rest of his siblings are like all, I don't know, more successful, or all, you know, like normal heteronormal lives, I guess you could say, being doctors or lawyers, I don't know, something that's like quote unquote more successful than an acupuncturist, which it's kind of sad to say, because I think being an acupuncturist is pretty cool. He's got his own business, you know, so it's like, I don't know, it's kind of hard to imagine being not seen, but he feels not seen by his family. So when Miles kind of turns his attention to him, it's like it's what he needs, right? And Miles, on the other hand, is like this alien romance author, but he's kind of ashamed to tell his parents that that's what he's writing. So every time his parents come over, he like makes up a new job. Like he's a journalist, and he's like, oh, I'm doing this story or that story or something like that, because he doesn't want to disappoint his parents, even though his parents would probably be fine with it. So Avery also helps push Miles out of his comfort zone, but only in ways that, like, you know, like tiny pushes. Like he's like, Avery's like, I need to go dancing. I want you to come to the club with me. And Miles is like, that's a lot of people. He's like, that's a lot of people. And Avery's like, just come. If you don't like it, we'll leave. It's no big deal. But like, it's nice. So it's like little pushes. It's not like I'm gonna make you come to the club every day for a week or anything like that. It's like, it's those tiny pushes that just give Miles new experience without pushing him too far. And then when Miles needs time to like write or like some time to be by himself, Avery's more than welcome to give it to him. So I like this balance that these two had, and it's just like really heartwarming and a feel-good read overall. So yeah, if you're looking for something that's not quite as heavy but still has a lot of feels, it was a really well-written story. Even more, I would say, on the lighter end of things, I've got The Haunted Hotel by Vawn Cassidy. So Vawn Cassidy has this Dead Serious Files, I think is the previous series, and that one does have heavier topics in it. But this is like one of those books. The main characters go on a supposed vacation, and they come across this hotel that happens to be haunted. But they didn't know at the time, but now we know that there are ghosts all over this place. So it really focuses on the people that work on the hotel. Ellis, who has worked there basically his entire life. He kind of grew up there a little bit. When his mom left, he wanted to stay because he loves this hotel with his whole heart. And so the hotel is not doing well, okay? It is in financial ruin. But there's like a core 5 employees who live here and want to make this hotel succeed. So they are trying their best. Meanwhile, we got a crazy group of ghosts that are running through that are just absolutely hilarious. Like these ghosts, I don't know. They also are trying to support, but at the same time, they're just off their rocker. It's so funny. I love it. And because of what happened in a previous instance, there's a ghost that comes in, and the ghost bureau who has told them that they are all in trouble. They haunted unauthorized hauntings, and so now they are in trouble and they are being monitored. So they're trying to untrouble themselves while also getting Ellis involved in their latest customer, who's not really a customer. Morgan has come to the hotel to get in touch with his grandfather. So Morgan actually lived at this hotel when he was younger, I think up until like the age of 6, when his father passed away, and then his mother took him back to America, where she came from. It takes place in England. So he's come back to kind of reconnect, only because this hotel has now kind of made the newspapers, and he has kind of blocked all of his memories from this time. So it's a little bit of like learning about where he comes from and the hotel that he supposedly could inherit one day. And it's just it's kind of light and fluffy. I almost expected, because of the Dead Serious Files, to have almost a little bit of like a more serious haunting, but it didn't happen, which is probably for the best. Morgan has enough trouble. He doesn't believe in ghosts, and even when he sees things, he's trying to explain them away until he just can't. And then his reunion with his grandfather doesn't quite go as planned, and Ellis is like this ray of sunshine. He's not even just a ray of sunshine. Ellis is like sunshine incarnate. Like if sunshine had to be embodied in a form, that would be Ellis. He's super optimistic. There's a strong instant kind of connection between these two, but it does take, Vawn did a really good job about kind of like building a relationship between them before anything kind of went further, and it's just a really good read. You've got like the grumpy Morgan, who's kind of always like angry, and then you've got like Sunshine Ellis, and they do a fun job of balancing each other out. It was just a nice kind of palate cleanser for me, I would say. I read Siren in the Rain by Chloe Archer. So this is also fun, but definitely threaded through with some really heavy, serious topics. So it's part of a series, a multi-author series that features like this coin of fate, and it's supposed to help bring fated couples together. And it starts off with Shay escaping from his family. So he has been physically enslaved by his family for profit in a sense. So Shay is a half siren, half human, and his stepmother has found a way to use his voice as to popularize her daughter as a pop artist, and he's just been basically shackled for a long time, and he finally can't take it anymore, and he is able to escape. So that's where we kick off with him escaping. So there's a lot to unpack with his enslavement and newfound freedom, and on his escape, he is brought to the attention of this group of what's known as otherkin in this series, but they're supernaturals who are there to help otherkin when they need it. And so Griffin is part of this group and is just the sweetest character to ever character. He's what you would call classic himbo, but he loves to surf and doesn't always understand exactly what's going on. Maybe not like book smartest person in the room, but has the hugest heart ever. And so he actually has emphatic powers where he can like help calm people, and he can help kind of shift some people's moods a little bit. So he's used in the group like when they're rescuing people to keep people calm. And as soon as he sees Shay, he like knows. He's like, oh, this is my dude. Unfortunately for him, Shay has an awful relationship to mates, and is also super traumatized and does not trust anyone at this point in time. So Shay stays with these guys, and Griffin. They all live at this big mansion, and it's nice because while he's healing, Griffin slowly is able to break down his walls, and the banter is really fun. You see it from both points of view, and so it's not heavy in the sense that like overall the feeling is moving forward and hopeful, and like there's a lightness to like these characters, but there are some pretty big topics. And also like Griffin doesn't talk about his family much because they kind of rejected him as well for not fitting into like their ideal of what he's a wolfkin, so it doesn't shift so much, but he's got like some claws and he's got the ears and the tail, but his claws don't always come out, and that's part of like being wolfkin. They're also supposed to be like super highly successful, so like lawyers or like accountants and making all the money, and Shay that's not for him, that's not his strength. So he's kind of found like this like found family in this group that he's a part of, which they're just so much, the people in this group are a lot of fun, and I'm hoping that Chloe Archer has some ideas for these other characters in the group, and it's just a really well thought out world. I like the rules that they have for the different supernaturals, and there's a little bit of rules on how like who rules what. So like, you know, like wherever they're like, I think it's like, I want to say it's like West Coast LA-ish feeling, and so because there's not much supernatural, like technically human authority takes over there, where like in other areas it'd be more supernatural authority, and how like these two bodies have to like negotiate with each other. So there is like this world building that's like kind of threaded through it as well, but I definitely need to see more. I need the rest of this group of not vigilantes, but this group of otherkin who are there to make people's lives better. I need to see them get their happy afters as well. And finally, I have another Lark Taylor book, Humility. So we've kind of been teased with Dani and Riley's story from a previous in the Damned Connection series, but I wasn't quite sure what to expect, and this one totally blew me away. So Dani is an alpha werewolf, and he, for reasons, does not want to go and lead his pack. So he told his pack he would go back once he finds his mate. So he has refused to find a mate and is like a one and done kind of dude. He's like, I'm just gonna be on my apps. I'm gonna do some hookups. It means nothing. I'm not for that life. Riley is best friends with another human who got involved with the vampire. So that's kind of how he gets involved, and then the shoe is dropped that dude's a vampire and Dani's a werewolf, and he kind of like is like and then he wakes up and he's like, okay. So yeah, that's happening. But the cute thing is that Dani and Riley have really taken kind of like a shine to each other. So like Riley has, he's a commitment phobe to the max. Like I've never seen as strong of a commitment phobe in a story before Riley. So these two are like, we're gonna be best friends, and they become crazy good friends. They live together, they're roommates, they're each other's wingman, and like it's funny because like they're basically in a relationship without the adult part added in, right? So like when people kind of hint at that, these two are like, no, we're 100% friends. I don't know what you're talking about. Both of them refuse to to make any kind of commitments. However, the nice thing about Lark's books is, so like there's a huge turning point where people's hands kind of get forced, and instead of like freaking out or like, running off, level heads prevail. So I like that, it's not like the typical like, I can't believe this happened, I'm gonna go lock myself in a tower now and not talk to anyone or anything like that. Like the characters are like, dude, I'm still here for you. I understand what, X, Y, and Z happened and why we're in this boat. So let's make the best of this scenario. And then they start to like have to like face some truth inside, like inner truth, right? Like they have to come to some inner if they have to like, I'm trying to think of the best way to put it, but like basically they have to make some decisions on how they're going to move forward and like what they want in their life. And part of that is Dani going back and finally going face to face with his clan again, and some of that is Riley dealing with his thoughts and feelings on commitment and how that's gonna change, and how he and Dani can like cement this bond that they have had. So it's just like a straight up, I don't know, I guess best friends with benefits to finally commitment with each other, which is a strange like thing to think that like these guys are more comfortable with a friends with benefits situation than an actual committed relationship, but they do get there. And it's a really good story. So it's like the characters are awesome. We get a whole new batch of characters that I need to learn more of at the pack, and then also it's got just like that nice dash of action to keep everything moving forward. So once again, it's like great amount of feelings. I did shed a few tears at one point in time, and then you've got like the banter, the lightness, the friendship between these characters, and then a whole new slew of interesting, intriguing characters that I need more of. Okay. Lark better not stop writing, because I am here for basically everything they've got. So that's what I've got for this month. Like I said, I have been like thinking about maybe doing instead of like a whole video for 1 month like this, of breaking it down once I read something I really want, so like doing it more book based, and then maybe doing like a quicker roundup just to remind or put together like a top tier list. So let me know if that's something you'd like to see in the comments below. I'm always up for recommendations that you may have, and don't forget to like and subscribe. All right, take care you guys. Thank you.